day I wait for like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, speak your peace on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family, freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day I wait for like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, speak your peace on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family, freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day on the line. Every day on the line. Every day on the.
So, Darryl, we have some callers and some listeners tap in. Want to ask a few questions.
Okay.
Life lessons in 5 minutes.
What about taxes? What is taxes?
Property taxes. So anytime you own a property, the state has to get their money. The city has to get their money. The county has to get their money. So every year you pay taxes. In California, it's based on 1%. That's the amount that the state gets.
Wait a minute, hold on. You tell me they don't own the dirt that your house is on?
You own it just as much as you own a car. You know, you have to pay registration every year. It's the same thing with a house. So all those pretty streets that you drive on, all that has to get paid for.
Okay.
They use property taxes for that. So the basis in California is 1%. So 1% of the purchase price of your home, and it goes up every year.
Okay, what about the cost of living?
Cost of living. Man, what do you want to know about the cost of living?
What is the cost of living?
Cost of living is
Here in California?
It's a basis for a particular area of how much it costs to live in that area. For example, if you live in Beverly Hills, everything is a little bit more expensive in Beverly Hills than it might be in Apple Valley or Barstow.
Right.
So the cost of living in Beverly Hills is higher than the cost of living in Barstow.
Gotcha. What is the situation? You said duplex, triplex. What is that? What did we brought that up earlier? What do you mean by that?
A duplex is 2 units on a property. So let's say you could call it 2 apartments basically, or 2 houses. There could be 2 houses on one lot. That's a duplex. If you have 3 houses on one lot, whether they're attached or not, that's a triplex. 4 houses or 4 units on one lot is a fourplex.
Okay.
So when I brought that up earlier, what I was saying is you might not be able to afford one house that costs $800,000, but you might be able to afford a triplex that costs $800,000 because you're living in 1 unit. You have 2 other people living in the other 2 units, and you're collecting rents from them, which is helping pay your mortgage.
Wow. Okay.
So
All right. Got any questions you want to ask me?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. So what do you recommend, or how does that work between cash on a house or using credit?
That's a good question. You brought up earlier how people are bidding up prices on houses.
Yeah.
A lot of times that cash, well, all the time cash is king. So in a lot of cases, people that are selling a house would rather go with somebody who has cash than with somebody who's going to need to get a loan. And the reason is, in a lot of cases, they can sell it quicker. Because if someone needs to get a loan, that's a process. You don't just get a loan overnight. You have to fill out forms, you have to provide information, and at the end of the day, you might get to the end of that and they might not be able to get the loan. If it's cash, you might even take a little less because you know you're getting your money right now.
Now, when you go into any property, whether it be commercial or residential, we hear this word mortgage. Mortgage. My mortgage is this, my mortgage is that. What is mortgage? And second question to that, why do they give it the 30 year? What calculates that 30 year in that mortgage?
Gotcha. So a mortgage is just a way for a lender, a bank or someone who has the money, to loan you money and you pay them back. The way you're paying them back is through a mortgage. So it's basically a loan on a piece of real estate. As far as the 30 year, now there are mortgages, all mortgages are not 30 year.
Okay.
There are 40 year mortgages now, there are 15 year mortgages, there are 20 year mortgages. But if you think of it like this, you owe the bank $100,000. You have to pay them back in 5 years. Your monthly payment, you only gonna have 60 in 5 years. Your monthly payment is way higher than if you can take 10 years. In 10 years, you cut that payment in half. 20 years, you cut it in half again. 30 years, 40 years. So the longer you have to pay, the less your monthly payment is going to be. So it's an affordability thing in many cases.
So how do they come up with the number 30?
Well, I've heard that when you break down that word mortgage in the Latin, and I'm not going to get too technical in there, but part of that word is based on your mortality, how long you're going to live.
Ooh.
So when it was created, the life expectancy was a lot shorter than it is now. They came up with 30. So we know if we loan this person money, they'll live long enough if we do a 30-year mortgage for them to pay us back.
So they're looking at your longevity in life, saying,
existed on Earth.
Yeah, 30 years would be just about when he can, or they, or she can be done with his mortgage.
Our risk will allow us to go out 30 years for this person.
Wow, that's heavy, boy.
Now, earlier, retracting, we was thinking about age limit on coming to you buying property, no matter if you have hard cash and running through credit. But there's a little bit more information to the age limit, right?
Based on contract law, you may or may not be able to hold someone responsible for a contract that they enter, i.e. a mortgage, or like a mortgage, if they're 18 or younger.
Okay, now is that just statewide, California? That's just mostly how that.
That's the United States in general.
Okay.
Now, a lender may still loan someone 18 money to buy a property, but there are laws that may make it possible for that person to get out of the contract.
Right.
Gotcha.
It's the same as, I guess, I can walk up in a car dealership at 18, even though I have the good credit and the hard cash, but it's all about that binding contract.
Right.
Okay.
It's kind of beg and different on that, because now the things that I know. So if you're like your parents, like when I was growing up, moms had a bank account at Security Pacific for me, and I used to put my little change in there, with my blue chip stamps and all that kind of little stuff. So I kept that account. I think Security Pacific turned to Bank of America.
It did.
And I kept that account. And then I still have that account to this day. So if you have a kid and you put them on your credit card, and their credit card, right, this gang right here.
Every day I wait for like my life on the line. Jungle in these streets, speak the beats are on the line. Hustle to increase, put it all on the line. House to spouse, family, freedom, walking yards on the line. Every day 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 on the line.